Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. I thought I would drop in. It is Sunday evening. I wanted to show you where I am in my December journal. I am following along with 49 dragonflies. Somewhat loosely, I've printed the list of prompts and I'm using those. I haven't been able to do a video every day, but I thought it would be sufficient just to drop in from time to time and update progress, and especially give an update of each week's progress. So I love dangly things on the outside. Sometimes I feel like a magpie because I cannot help but pick things up. Here's a rusty washer. This is a bottle cap from a German beer that we tried that has pomegranate in it. Of course, that's what I started with, the old key. And then there's a washer that has had some wear to it, but it's not rusty. It's interesting to see how different things look in parking lots and in the woods, along trails. You know, some things are really rusty, some things aren't. I also added this star to the front because it makes me think about Christmas and just the whole story of the shepherds following the star in the sky. And I think most everything else was already on the front here. Some of these things you've seen, but I think you will also notice how the pages are building up and up as I go back and add layers. I can't remember if I showed you this. This is a vintage cat pen that I bought at a shop of a friend. And then this little sweet button, that was on a ribbon and was wrapped around some happy mail I received from Sandra. There's a card that I like. There's one of the old CDV cards that I printed out, and I just stamped the back of that with a rose stamp that I had painted with ink, and it had a lot of water on it. And let's see, I think most of this is the same. There's the butterfly. I've gone through and added cards and notes from people. You know, I feel like a journal should be, you should be able to look back and see a portion of your life. I love to put labels, things that I find, notes about everyday life. I also love to put in art, like, you know, that's a little painting that I did. Christmas is a time of love. That's a sticker from Sandra. This is the little vintage mitten that I found and some things that I purchased. So I did go ahead and make some more of those. And I'm adding those to the page, although it would appear at the moment the newest one is not here. Oh, here we go. I think I had moved it because I didn't want it to get messed up. Let's find a page to stick it on. Okay, I've added tabs. I've started adding more tabs to the page. We built up a page with a nature image and then a lot of gesso and glitter. I love glitter. Some people don't. I ended up writing on the top of this piece of vellum, so you can still see the image underneath a little bit. December 2020, daily journal entries. Has been a crazy year. We lost a good friend to COVID. And then I've got we, because I always want to include Jason, had a grandbaby born. We had family to move into a restored family home. We have had all our needs met. I have left 2 jobs and spent a lot of time just being self-employed. What a year. So that was just to sum up a little bit about what the journal is about. I'm still going back and adding layers to every page. I love to journal in that way. This was just a quick art page. She looks a little bit wild, her eyes actually. I did add a little bit of white and just to put some light there, but I think she needs a little something more, and I might go back and do more to her. But December 7th, it snowed today for a few minutes. Now here I added the bottom of a package of a large loaf of bread that we bought. It seems like lately we've been alternating between cooking big meals and enjoying those for a few days, you know, with leftovers and everything, and just not feeling like doing anything and reverting to something really easy like soup or sandwiches, or just, you know, picking up something at a local restaurant, which is also nice to support the local businesses because they've really struggled this year. But anyway, I've got my list from Barbara at 49 Dragonflies. This is a card, a postcard that I sent out, you know, as a return request receipt, and I got that back. And then there's the label to some chocolate. So that's a nice pocket to be able to hold things. Something I did buy the other day, and I really like this. This is a little stencil that was $1 at the Dollar Tree. This one is feathers, and they're so easy to use because it only exposes the one that you're working with. And I just really like that a lot. So I went through and added some feathers to the pages. Let's see, you've probably seen this page. So this is some fabric that's drying, and a lot of times I will just take a piece of paper to put between the pages so that the pages don't stick together. Now if you can see where the glue is still wet. I love the sound that bottle cap makes on there. It's the key in the bottle cap, I think. So here you can see the glue coming through, and you know, if it dries to this, that's okay. When I pull it away, it'll have some paper dried on it that I can then stain or paint, and it will just add more layers. But I don't want it sticking to this page. I don't want to pull the pages apart and tear a page. So let's see. That's an old label I found in some ephemera. I wrote here label snob, only the pretty labels. And when I say label snob, I can't go out and buy a lot of really expensive things just for the labels. But I do love beautiful labels. And then I've got I love vintage labels. I think you've seen this page. There's a button that I bought. It's just plastic, but I love the little flower on it. It reminds me of Christmas, like a chrysanthemum or a poinsettia. And then on this page, I love shopping for soap. We have a new Dollar Tree near us, and they had, of course, since it's new, all the shelves were packed full. They had just the best craft supplies, so many different kinds of soap, and they always have this anyway, but I picked up a few things that I hadn't bought before, and then I bought this. And you can see underneath where I had all of the little tea bag labels. I glued a doily down, and there's a pocket with some of the vintage fabric that I wanted to use. In here is a little painting that I did, and I've continued to add staining and alcohol ink. And then one of Barbara's prompts was to add stamping to the background, or on top of a background. This is one of my favorite stamps, so I did use that and just put some in with the flowers there. You'll see that stamp a lot through the pages, I think. Here I made a little note, and let's see, today's the 20th. That's from today, and there is a little that's a little label from the felt that I bought to make the mittens. Love this page. That is one of Barbara's prompts was to make a page with a bird as the focal point. And let's see, I probably should just make a note of what I've done. We did the stamping in the background. I've added several doilies, which you'll see, and patterned paper. I feel like a lot of these things I do all the time anyway, but some of these made me stop and think, like using 3 round elements, which goes back to this, and I didn't check that off. Let's see, include numbers. I still have a plan for numbers. There's use the bird as the focal point. Use a transfer technique. Now I have the rub-on transfers so we can count that, but I want to go back through. I might do something with my jelly plate for that as well. Add stenciling to your background. So even though I've done the stencil, we will add more stencils to something that's already got a pretty heavy background. Add a tag. Make a collage with love as the theme. I've done several love pages. Add some marks with any tools that you have. Add real or faux stitching. So I've done a bunch of stitching in here. Use 3 different washi tapes. I've used, I think, 2 so far. Make a nature-themed collage and add a sentiment. Well, I have the fox. But, and we have done collaging. I went back and put the leaves and the glitter, so I still need to add a phrase. Anyway, we added the button on the paper clip too. So I'm going to put this list away again, but I did just want to pull it out and take a glance at it while we're flipping through. So there's the bird, there is the mitten that I made, and I just love this whole spread, the grunge. I added this tag, that's from an old card that had some mending yarn on it. And why don't we do this again? So something that I did, I wrote, and wrote some more, and some more. Kind of wanted it to just be in the background and get covered up with some things. And I will continue to layer over this. There are some kind of personal thoughts on here, so I won't dwell on that page. There is a card that came in some mail from my friend La Sharon. I love this big clip, and I love what she's got tied on that. There's a card. I sell a lot of vintage playing cards. That's definitely one of my best sellers, and I try to keep those boxes of cards constantly stocked up. I had a set of cards from the Nutcracker, and I wanted to take one of those and put in here. Coffee, one of my all-time favorite things. I've been saving coffee labels and just cutting different coffee, like Bowtown Roasters. That, of course, is from Bojangles. And let's see, that is a deck of cards that was added to my card collection. I've been craving chocolate like crazy. I know these are not good for me. At least they don't have the hydrogenated fats like they used to. You know, some of these Little Debbie snacks, I think everybody's getting wise to that. And then there's the old ephemera that I found put that in the pocket, and you can see a lot of staining and distressing with different colors. I added some of this fabric that I wanted to use, and that, of course, is covering up part of the entry that I just kind of want to let it fade into the background. There's one of the feather stamps. This is a label from some socks my sister gave me for Christmas. I love these socks. I love them so much. She and I met up one morning and had coffee. We wore our masks, and we tried to stay social distance and just, you know, at least see each other. This has been a really hard year as far as seeing family. This, of course, was from one of the nights we were just in the mood for soup, and I even stamped the word soup. And there, I love this. So I just used an ink pad to really heavily stain this, and then stamped with black ink onto that. There's some of the piping from a recent kit that I wanted to add here. More of the bread label. And those pages are distressed and ready to go for when I get to those. I think I stopped with this technique in the last December daily video that I did. So there is a tag from a wine, Chevalier de Grand Robert. Is that Bordeaux Superior? Superior. LOL. So here's another piece of fabric that is hanging down, and I will probably write under that. There's some washi tape with the cats on it, and I did take the time to glue in some of those vintage images that I had from an old scrapbook. Now, those pages are wanting to stick together. I need to do just a little bit more drying with the dryer before I go inside. More distressing, and yeah, I need to dry these pages some. They're really wanting to stick together. And this was a page that has got a lot of paint on it, so I'm probably going to leave it open to this page overnight. That came from a candle. That's from the beer, the German pomegranate beer. And there's a doily that's just really glued down in there, and it's got these pages glued somewhat together, but I did that on purpose. You can see the glue in there. I just poured like a puddle of glue into and around these doily halves that were in between those pages. Here's a little tag that I stained. It says December 25th because we know, of course, that's the big day in December. And that envelope came from Sandra in some Happy Mail. This is really lovely. I love this page, and it definitely needs to dry as well. There's a lot of glue, it looks like. This is a label that Jason and I found while we were walking by the Eno. I think somebody probably drank a beer down there, even though they weren't supposed to, and they were going to keep the label because there's a crease mark. It was folded in half, it had been taken off of the bottle, and it was just laying there. The back of this is really dirty, and that's probably where some of that mud is coming from, or that, you know, the dark spot. Put the stamps in from a letter, And let's see, that's an old book page. I just love the blackbird with the top hat. That's from an old sweater. And let's see, here's more doilies. And there's a little bird. A lot of you, if you order from me, you see this little creature. Let's see, get that to right. I sprayed this with some hairspray because it was oil pastel. So anyway, let's see if we can make some marks here. Come on. It's not going to write on top of that. But I always try to take the time to do a little bird in all of the mail that I send out with the orders. Let's see, I think I kind of messed the eye up a little bit. Let's use this distress crayon. There we go. That's perfect. And you know what? Let's just hit it with some hairspray while we're here. Oh, what else have I done? Oh, I love this little lady. That's another part of that sweater that I found. And this is another one of the pages that's kind of a love theme. It says, I love you. I need to go back and work on her hat, I think. Probably get a flower or something to sew onto that page so her hat will have a flower. That might be as far as I've gotten. I need to date this. This was today. Just put Lynn down there. I do think, let's see, I did sew this fun trim onto the back page, and it kind of wants to get over the top of those large papers I have in there. But these are things we've picked up from walks on the river, like river maps. And Jason, he brings me back things, like if he goes out and I'm not with him, he'll bring back ephemera, basically trail maps and stuff, and say, look, we need to go here together. So let's put that back in there. You can see that's where I was doing some feather stuff. Let's tear that so it doesn't stick out. And put that right back there. So that's where we are. I'm going to do a little bit of drying, and then I'm going to go inside and spend the rest of the evening inside. There will be a lot of new listings in the shop tonight. I've been listing today, and I'll just release them all at one time, and I'll be doing that on a regular basis. Thank you so much to everybody who has ordered. All orders are out. I know that USPS has been crazy. They are so overwhelmed, and at least at my post office, the employees have been super nice. Now, you know, I know some packages, I know people who have had problems with packages arriving in really bad shape. I haven't had that happen yet. I have had packages that, I mean, my tracking didn't even appear to be updated, and it still got where it was going. So just bear with everybody and everything and every store and the post office right now, because I know it's just overwhelming right now. But that said, thank you so much, and I appreciate everyone being here. Thank you to new subscribers, to old subscribers. I'm glad you're here, and I'll be back really soon. Bye for now.